In 2014, the documentary film Finding Vivian Maier was released. As a result of an immense amount of research, skillful filmmaking, and the mysterious controversy surrounding the woman known as Vivian Maier, the documentary was nominated for an Academy Award. John Maloof was writing a book on the history of Chicago, so he went to an auction in search of inspiration. At the auction, Maloof purchased a set of boxes for $380. Maloof's find would later cause him to abandon his writing project in order to take up a new project as a documentary film director. The auction house purchase yielded an array of random finds, including piles and piles of receipts and envelopes from film developing, accompanied by random notes. This paperwork foreshadowed what would be the biggest find that Maloof would uncover: Vivian Maier's secret passion for photography. The sheer number of film that Maloof uncovered was astounding. Maloof found 100,000 negatives and 700 rolls of undeveloped film. After viewing some of the negatives and later developing some of the film, Maloof discovered that Vivian Maier was an undiscovered artist with an uncanny knack for photography. He began researching this mysterious woman so that he might learn more about the secret, but very prolific, photographer. He returned to the auction house and found that the belongings had come from Maier's storage unit that was left unpaid for a period of time. Maloof was able to track down additional boxes and then began taking inventory of Maier's life. Sadly, although Vivian Maier was alive at the time that Maloof had purchased her belongings, she died before Maloof completed his work. In an attempt to reconstruct Vivian Maier's life, Maloof conducted interviews with several former employers. While Maier worked as a nanny, she hid the fact that she was an avid photographer. And that wasn't the only thing Maier was secretive about. Many of the people interviewed noted that Vivian was often hesitant to give her name. When Vivian was confronted about why she would not give her name, Vivian referred to herself as a spy. Her name hardly ever appears the same way. She varied her first initial and the spelling of her last name. While one family referred to her as Vivian, another called her Viv. Still another family revealed that they would never dare call her Viv and that they were required to call her Miss Myers, M-Y-E-R-S, although her name was actually spelled M-A-I-E-R. In addition, several people were certain that Vivian had a French accent. However, although Vivian did have family in France, others insisted that if she did speak with an accent, it was definitely faked. The film Rashomon is well known for depicting how various people have differing perspectives of an event. When it comes to Vivian Maier, there is a definite Rashomon effect present. Vivian Maier was seen by some as a doting nanny. However, others revealed that she had a bit of a dark side and put her photography before her children. She would even drag her charges to unseemly parts of the city for a good photo. Apparently, once one of the older children that she was caring for was hit by a car. Instead of running to the child, Vivian reportedly ran to get her camera. The families that Vivian Maier worked for reported that Vivian accumulated piles of newspapers and several boxes. She would even transport these piles from job to job, often necessitating a storage area in addition to living quarters. One employer recalled that Maier had so many newspapers stacked in her room that there was barely enough room to walk through. Maier even had piles on her bed. Maier forbade anyone from entering her room. She would often have a padlock on her bedroom door to prevent others from intruding. One scene from the documentary film about Maier adds an air of mystery by manipulating camera angles and carefully selecting what will appear in the frame. A close-up of a padlock is followed by scenes of someone's legs ascending stairs to Maier's sacred space in an employer's home. As a result of a find at an auction house, a documentary was made of Vivian Maier's life. Was Maier a spy? We will never know. Near the end of Maloof's research, Maier was found dead on a park bench, even her death a mystery. What we do know is that Maier was a nanny with a penchant for photography, and that she was quite talented. However, what remains uncertain is whether the ultra-private Maier would have wanted her work to be shared. Padlocked doors would indicate that Maier would not approve of having her life or her talent exposed. So the ethics of having her photos shared has been much questioned. Maloof admits in the film that he grappled with the idea of developing images that Vivian had never herself seen. Critics echo these thoughts, as Meyer was never allowed to self-edit her images or to choose which images to release and which to hold back. Instead of her best work being presented, everything is released for the public to view. In any case, although Vivian Maier remains a bit of a mystery, her unquestionable talent has been made public. Meet Vivian Maier. Here are a few of her photos that you might like to review. 3 self-portraits. A found photo of a doll that had been thrown into a trash bin. Maier once worked for talk show host Phil Donahue. Donahue always thought Maier was a little bit eccentric, but never thought she was crazy, merely an artist. Another odd doll image. It seems Maier had a taste for dolls. Maier was a master of composing and framing. This is one of my favorites. This is another one of my favorites, with both framing and use of light. The use of repetition on a train. Another masterful use of composition. The everyday was something Maier paid close attention to. Light and reflective surfaces were something that she definitely paid attention to, as well as the realities of everyday life. Nothing escaped her attention. Here are a few of the works that I've used, and here is the trailer to the movie Finding Vivian Maier.
Production houses across the street from my home. I found this box loaded with negatives. I won it for $380. The history of street photography is being rewritten.
Vivian Maier.
Vivian Maier.
Vivian Maier?
Exhibitions in New York, in LA, in London, Chicago.
We've had more interest in this work than any other photographer.
There's one in particular that I bought, which I love. The composition is slightly off to me, and I think that's why I like it.
Vivian was a very private woman.
She was so awesomely neat.
She was not an open person. She was a closed person. Vivian was my nanny.
Yeah, she was our nanny.
He certainly had no idea she took photographs.
She lived on the 3rd floor in our attic.
This was the forbidden zone.
One of the first things she asked me for was please to put in a lock. She said, don't ever open this door.
We didn't know there was this creative person there.
She took so many photos. Around 100,000 negatives, 700 rolls of undeveloped color film, 8mm and 16mm movies.
She would take us and we would just walk in the worst parts of town, and I think she liked that.
You know, maybe we just didn't understand her.
What would you say to Vivian now?
What drove you to hide yourself away?
I'd say, why the didn't you ever show me all the stuff you did? I thought I was a friend of yours.
In death, she is getting the fame she never had in life. I'm uncovering an artist. If I'm leaving this giant boulder unturned, it would be a mistake.
Of course, she would have hated every minute of it. She would never have let this happen. She had some compulsive behaviors.
She was a pack rat.
I asked her what she did. Her answer was, I'm sort of a spy.
He would say, what's your name? Miss Lee Smith.
There's a piece of the puzzle missing.
As she was photographing, she was seeing just how close you can come into somebody's space. That tells me a lot about her. She could generate this moment, and then she's gone.